Now, Dame Felicity Lott is often described as Britain's favourite soprano. If you were lucky enough to hear her cat duet with Anne Murray at the last night of the Proms, or if you've seen her signature role as the Marschallin in Der Rosa Cavalier, you'll understand why. On the 24th of this month, she'll be giving a recital at the South Bank in London, and a new CD, Gabrielle Fauré, The Complete Songs Volume 1, on which she features, is out now. Felicity, what's the appeal of the French chanson for you?
Well, I've always been mad about the French language as long as I can remember. I always loved it, and I did a French degree, and I wanted my life to be involved with French in some way. And then I found I couldn't teach it. I can't teach anybody anything. So that was out, and I had to find something else to do with it. And I'd always sung, so now I sing it quite a lot.
I mean, you're often praised for the authenticity of your French delivery. How important was that time spent in France as part of your degree?
Tremendously important. I mean, in every way, because, for one thing, I was all on my own in a small French town, and I had to speak French all the time, so that was great for my French. And also because I'd always sung and always had singing lessons, I went and found a teacher there, and she was great, and I was lonely, and she adopted me more or less as a daughter, as well as being a very good teacher and giving me a kick and saying, you know, if you worked a bit harder, maybe you could sing, because I didn't know what to do next. I was just drifting from, well, I was all right while I was at university, but what on earth I was going to do after that, I had no idea, so I went on to be a music student for another 4 years.
Why were you so bad at teaching, do you think?
Oh, I have no authority. ask
but you
my daughter.
But you do on stage.
That's different.
Why is it so different?
Well, on stage I'm playing a part, you know. I just haven't been ever very good at playing a part in real life. I mean, you just get this heap of nerves. And unfortunately, I think a class of students would see through it very fast. I haven't got that. But I'm fine. I love being on stage and pretending to be somebody else. That's great, but when it's just me, it's different.
Well, the pupil's loss was definitely our gain, I think we can say. You're very tall. Mm-hmm. How did that affect the roles that you felt comfortable with when you started?
Well, I've been, I suppose, very lucky, because I started off with roles that I can still just about do. Countesses, and, you know, I was always aristocratic parts, because partly I couldn't move very fast, and I'm impractical, so yeah, I couldn't be a servant girl who has to do all sorts of useful things as well as sing. If I could just drift around and sing, I was okay.
Your dad at one point was pretty impressed that you didn't bump into anything or knock anything over.
That's
Is that
right. Yes, that's right. Oh, family's wonderful. Yes, it came to the first thing I ever did, I think, when I was at the academy, and he said, you know, his comment was, well, at least you didn't knock anything over.
Now, you've made the Marschallin in Der Rosa Cavalier your own. Let's just hear a little bit of you singing it. had you there with Natalie Dessay and Angelika Kirchschlager. What is it about that role that makes it such a favourite?
Well, I think everybody can identify with the Martian because it's time and the effects of time, and she's very gracious in sending her young lover away to somebody more appropriate and more suitable. And she's in the first act they're madly in love, and the boy is saying, "I shall love you forever. You're mine. You're mine. You're mine." And then after 5 minutes he's met somebody else, and he wants the young girl, but he doesn't know how to deal with the situation, and she makes it wonderfully easy. But in that trio, the Marshal, my character then there starts and has this wonderful phrase where she says, "I promised I would love him in the right way, but I didn't expect it to come quite so quickly, that I would be tested on it." But then when she gets to the end of her phrase, then Sophie, the young girl, comes in, and they arrive on the same note, and the Marshal sort of fades away, and the young girl takes it on, and it's brilliant writing.
It's exquisite, isn't it? There were rumours in the press not so long ago that you might be saying farewell to opera. How did you respond to that speculation?
I was really upset and very cross. I don't know where the rumours came from. And I think I wrote quite a cheeky letter to Opera magazine, where they had published the fact that it was going to be my farewell, at least to Covent Garden. Well, it might have been, I don't know. But certainly not to opera. And I've been doing, I did 20 performances of La Grande Duchesse this last year in Paris, and I'm determined to keep going as long as I possibly can. I had a wonderful time doing that.
Well, the operetta, I think you've said, has given you a new lease of life. Why?
Well, as a change from drifting about playing stately ladies, I work with this wonderful team of completely zany, crazy people. Wonderful choreographer and divine producer called Laurent Pelly and Mark Minkowski. Doing this, we did La Belle Hélène in Paris a few years ago, and this year we did La Grande Duchesse. And it's just a kind of magical Lewis Carroll cartoon character kind of world. Great colleagues, and it was, well, to be asked to do something completely different, a bit of dancing. I mean, apart from in The Merry Widow, I've never done anything more than a stately waltz. But I didn't have to do much dancing in this, but you do have to move around quite a lot. And it was also quite a difficult acting part. She's a complete pain, the Grande Duchesse. It was such a relief, because I always try and be nice and liked, and this time I could be outrageous, and it was very, very liberating.
And what about recitals? I mean, there's the recital at the South Bank coming up. What is it you love about that relationship with an audience, where I suppose you can be much closer to the audience than you can if you're performing another character?
Yes, it's much more intimate. In fact, the concert on the South Bank that's coming up is with the Nash Ensemble, so that's also something I enjoyed singing, but with instrumentalists very much. It's not something I do so often, but we're doing a very interesting mix of music that isn't so often performed, I suppose. The Ravel Chansons Madagasques, which are extraordinary, exotic Madagascan poems for flute and cello and piano and voice. And I love blending and singing with instrumentalists. It's quite a challenge.
You've also had a couple of big royal occasions. You sang at the wedding of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, and then at Princess Margaret's memorial. How daunting are those sort of occasions?
Well, they are very daunting. They're quite a responsibility, obviously, and you feel eyes on you from all over the place. And also you want to add to the beauty or the solemnity of the occasion, and so that's quite stressful. I'm quite a nervous person.
Why are you so nervous when you're so in command of your business?
What a horrible question. I don't know. No, it's like that. Well, I'm better at dealing with it. You wouldn't think so, seeing at this stage in the morning, I suppose. But yes, you learn how to deal with it, but I'm always nervous. And I think it's good to be nervous, actually. I mean, it's much more dangerous to go and thinking, oh, this is going to be fine, because the first thing you do is fall flat on your face. So I would rather have these nerves. Thank you.
Dame Felicity Lott, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.